Defined, it is the sending and receiving of information. When done well, it can impact relationships in a very positive way. When done poorly, it's a mess. Communication, coming up next on the Sharyland ISD Counseling Department's Mental Health Moment. Communication is the key to good relationships. In my work as a counselor, I've witnessed the product of effective communication. I've also been a witness to the lack of any communication at all. And when that happens, it's like two boxers going to their corners getting ready for the next round. Hello everyone, my name is Alfred Chrishell Jr., lead counselor for Sharyland ISD, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Sharyland ISD Counseling Department's Mental Health Moment. He doesn't listen to me. She doesn't listen to me. They don't understand. Whether it's a parent talking about their children, a teenager talking about their parents, or a parent talking about their spouse, these are some of the things that I hear coming out of people's mouths when there is a complete lack of communication. And if you want to move any relationship forward and make it better, you've got to learn how to communicate more effectively. In order to do that, we first have to understand how we communicate. We communicate with our words, with our tone of voice, our body language, nonverbal facial expressions, and even silence. We can bring our relationships closer together or pull them apart using those same methods of communication. So the challenge for us is to check ourselves. For example, are we using words that will help make things better? Or are we using words that are hurtful and destructive and moving us further apart? Okay, so now that we know in what ways we communicate, we can look at a pretty powerful assumption about communication. Here it is. First, I have a right to say what I'm feeling and what's on my mind. It's my right as a human being. Second, it's my responsibility to say what I'm feeling and thinking. Because no one can read anyone's mind, and if I don't say it, no one will know it. And finally, 3, I do not have the right to hurt someone in the way I communicate what I'm feeling. Simply put, I can't use my words, my tone of voice, voice inflection, my facial expressions, or silence, because like we talked about earlier, those things can hurt. And here's the really cool thing. If both people that are talking know this, then they don't have to act like boxers entering the ring. Because if they know the assumption about communication, then they know the other person isn't going to hurt them in the way they communicate what they need to say. And they know it's their right and their responsibility to say it too. So each person can drop their guard or defenses and try to resolve the conflict in a healthy way. Here are some other critical tips to effective communication. Make sure you speak to someone face to face and always calm down first. Nothing positive ever comes from raising our voices at each other. Next, speak clearly using those helping words. Then, stop and listen to the other person without interrupting. They heard you, now you listen to them. Next, you'll want to clarify what it is you heard. Make sure you heard what you thought you did, and check with the other person also for clarity. If you're trying to resolve a conflict, try to compromise if you can. And finally, don't talk about it forever. 20 minutes is a sufficient amount of time to have both people speak and listen to one another about a particular event. So if 20 minutes is up, stop the conversation and come back to it the next day for another 20 minutes. This will give both people a chance to think about what they said and maybe be in a better position to compromise when they do come back for the next 20-minute conversation. Do these things, and you're on your way to better communication. Now, does all of this mean we're going to like what they have to say to us or that we're going to agree about everything? Of course not. But it will allow us to come to the table and have a civil conversation and allow us to be heard without being interrupted. And everyone wants to be heard. Like everything else though, to get better at the skill of effective communication, we have to practice it over and over again. Start practicing. It's going to help you in all of your relationships. Until our next mental health moment, make it a great day or not.
The choice is yours.